I don't think I know that it's evil beyond evil, that we have some people so privileged and comfortable that they think that their feelings is more important than the truth in solving world issues. Let's talk about it. So we have 380 million Christians worldwide are being persecuted, and I don't even know if that includes America. 380 million Christians are being persecuted and unalived right now because they're teaching Satanism more than they're teaching Christianity, and people are starting to get a little aware of what they've been doing, and people are starting to get a little mad about it. And there are definite reasons. I could write a 345-page book about it, and people would still not grasp the things that I'm saying. Jesus Christ said, I am truth, and you will hate a false prophet and love a true one. So when you hate somebody that is of the Christian faith, it might be a clue that God sent them, and God makes the choices of who is righteous, and God appoints his anointed, not you, Brenda. So it wouldn't really be up to Christians to decide if Betty White gets to be a prophet, because last time that I checked, the Betty Whites of the world are the most evil people on the entire planet. The most evil incarnate people I have ever met on the entire planet have been older women that I would consider a Betty White. We have 380 million Christians being persecuted right now. In America, 76 exorcisides happen in a month. When a woman is unalived by her spouse or boyfriend in a month, compared to 4 in Australia, compared to 6 in UK. That does not include the ones that are fake suicides, or the ones that are pretend overdoses, or the ones that are mysterious and we'll just call it a mystery from Now to Kingdom Come, like Natalie Wood or Marilyn Monroe, which we know the facts about, but people just don't want to admit to. So we got that going on. You know, when the kingdom of so-called righteousness allows evil, you know what that does to the kingdom of darkness? It empowers the demons in that kingdom even more. So when you say lies in the kingdom of so-called righteousness, which would be the kingdom of Christ, which would be the kingdom of the Western world, which would be the kingdom of Christ, when you allow lies in the kingdom of Christ, you allow bigger lies in the kingdom of darkness. I need people to grasp that with their 3 brain cells. So when you say domestic abuse is a her fault in the kingdom of so-called righteousness, you know what that does in the kingdom of darkness? That makes women be basically nothing better than a captive in a hostage situation. You know, watch people like Iban, I think his name is Murak or Warak. His first name is IBN, and then... Okay, so it's IBN, and then his last name is Warraq. It's WARRAQ. Let him be the expert of what I'm talking about, and I'm not even going to talk about on my channel what he's talking about. Just let him be the expert. Let his videos be the expert. Let his books be the expert. Let his life experience be the expert. I'm going to be the expert on my own religion, okay? So when we've got people in our own religion that won't acknowledge their own chosen ones, that won't acknowledge their true prophets, even though it's scientifically studied that there are actual chosen ones, that there are actual chosen ones. They write books about it and they do scientific studies about it, like the book Children's Near-Death Experiences and the Evolution of Humankind. They write books about it and do scientific studies about how the chosen ones, how the most intelligent on the planet, that are the most righteous, are the most abused, are the most usaid, and the most unalive ever since they were children. That's scientifically studied. It's not a debate. You know another reason that the rest of the world hates actual Christians that are rare? Gandhi said they were rare. Gandhi said they were rare. The people that hate actual Christians, including the fake Christians, the Pharisee Christians, which would be Antichrist, which would be Satanists, the reason that people hate fake Christians is because they experience actual miracles in their life, which I've experienced many. And when people don't experience miracles in their life and they have to get everything through being a narcissist, well, then they tend to resent, use, and abuse and essay and try to unalive the people that are actually blessed by God, that are actually touched by angels, that are actually favored by God. And when the Christian community doesn't uplift their own true prophets and uplift the truth tellers, then they do themselves a disservice because they act like they're righteous when they're not. And the rest of the world knows this Betty White act is just a bullshit act and it ain't true. When you don't uplift your true prophets, you say to the rest of the world that you don't stand on your word and you don't have a word of gold. And they just think that the Christian faith ain't nothing to stand on because they start to realize that most Christians are practicing narcissistic abuse, which blames victim instead of putting the blame of evil on the evildoer. And when you're in the kingdom of righteousness and you say that evil evil is because of the person shouldn't have been so stupid, the victim shouldn't have been so stupid. When you're in the so-called kingdom of righteousness and you say lies, when you say Satan's lies, when you are a Satanist, not a Christian, where you are an antichrist, not a Christian, you allow the people in the kingdom of darkness to do even worse things, and you allow even worse things to happen to the women and the children on the bottom of the totem pole, when the women and the children on the top of the totem pole don't even have the acknowledgement to know that they are enslaved into Satanism, not Christianity. Because if they were actually in Christianity, then they would lift up their true prophets, they would protect their own women and children, and they would know things called the definitive laws of righteousness have exact qualities, that it's not fluid, that it's not sometimes this on a Tuesday and sometimes this when, Bob and Mary feel like it's this. Definitive qualities of righteousness are things that are always the way that they are, and truth is a definitive law of righteousness. Look up the 9 noble virtues. Truth is a 9 noble virtue, and you don't have to sugarcoat it. You don't have to be polite about it, because the truth should be as harsh as the truth was when it happened. How many women out here online are talking about they've been SA'd since they were a baby or a toddler, and their own grandmothers, aunts, and their own mothers knew about it, and they just keep it hush hush. They end up estranging us from the family instead of estranging the son of a bitch that did it. How Christian is that? You think the world is going to look up to Christians, and you don't think that's going to come back around to us at some point? No wonder 380 million Christians are being persecuted right now, when that's how Christians act. They act like they're going to keep the evil people. They discard the truth tellers when Jesus Christ told you to stand on truth, that lies were the devil. When you're in the so-called kingdom of righteousness and you allow lies, you allow even bigger lies in the kingdom of darkness. And no wonder the fastest growing religion on the planet is not Christianity. I would ask Ibn Warraq about it. IBNWARRAQ. I would go read his book and check out his videos about how that's going for humanity. Because when the kingdom of so-called righteousness doesn't stand on truth, they don't lift up their true prophets, and they don't actually hold that women and children being treated properly with respect, that there is no hierarchy of, well, maybe we'll pretend respect these women, and then these women are sluts, and then these women are down here on the totem pole, and we don't give a shit about these women. Well, what do you think the kingdom of darkness does when they take that same hierarchy, and they take those same 3 brain cells, and they take that, domestic abuse is just a her fault, and we don't got to educate women. Dr. Tony Atwood is a British psychologist, and he said the most essayed, the most unalived, and the most hated women on the planet are women with Asperger's syndrome, women that actually tell the truth by their biology, by their God-designed biology. And he said they have the highest intelligence. They are the most abused, the most disrespected, the most oppressed, the most SA'd since childhood. Those are facts. Those are published facts. So when the so-called kingdom of righteousness does something that not any animal no animal in God's creation chooses the dumbest mate possible, except for evil men, because dumb women are the easiest to break like a horse, are the easiest to corrupt, are the easiest to manipulate, are the easiest to call a her fault, so that men get an easy ride on nothing. They don't do anything righteous. They have no accountability for their actions. No wonder they don't like smart women to be the ones that they mate with, and no wonder humanity is in the boat that it's in. If you don't mate with smart women, you're the only creature on the planet that mates with the dumbest mate possible is evil men. So if the kingdom of righteousness isn't upholding actual laws definitively of righteousness, what do you think the kingdom of darkness is doing, and why is it growing faster than the kingdom of righteousness? Why do you think that is? You don't think the kingdom of righteousness has any part to play in that? Ain't that something? There is never any accountability from the Dursleys and the Malfoys, is there? I believe they've got a Bible and tons of psychology books about how women with Stockholm Syndrome are the most evil women in the planet. I know that for God's honest fact from the people in the so-called kingdom of righteousness. So if the people in the kingdom of righteousness, women who have Stockholm Syndrome, are the most evil people on the planet, don't you think that the women in the kingdom of darkness with Stockholm Syndrome are going to be so extremely evil that they have no friends, no reason to live? Their husbands and their fathers and their brothers only use them as breeders and abuse. So of course the biggest demons in the kingdom of darkness are women that have been abused and no one advocates for them. And since the kingdom of so-called righteousness just calls abuse a her fault, you think the world's going to get a better place real quick with a magic wish?